All right. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Arc Synergy. My name is Angeline. I'm a speech language pathologist and I'm the founder and CEO of Arc Synergy. So, welcome back to another sit down talk and kind of like lifestyle. I need to come up with like a cool nickname for this type of video. So, it's kind of like a get to know me. Welcome to my personal space. I don't know how I like that sound, but let's get into it. So, this is how I became a speech language pathologist. So, I've been a speech language pathologist since 2021. That's when I started my CF in 2021. And I've been doing travel therapy since 2022. So how did I get there? So my storyline is a little crooked. So let's see. Let's get started in undergrad, right? I was super excited in undergrad. I was one of those students that was so enthusiastic about education. I'm still kind of like I am addicted to academia, is what I like to say. Um, for better or for worse for the money for sure. But okay, so undergrad, I wanted to do so many things. Undergrad, I needed to do less things. I needed a guidance counselor. That's what I needed. I needed a better guidance counselor. But I digress. Undergrad, I started as an architecture and pre-med double major. I'll say that again. I studied as an architecture and pre-med double major. That was a terrible that was a terrible idea. That was a terrible idea. Like I'm still so mad at my guidance counselor for letting me do that. That was some ridiculousness. I got no sleep for like the first 2 years of my life in undergrad. I was taking pre-med classes and I was in the studio 24/7 doing architecture. It was the worst 2 years of my life. Like, I wish somebody would have told me, yo, that is a terrible idea. Don't do this. But no, they just said me. And the amount of money that took, architecture is not a cheap major, nor is it a healthy one. At least the studio lab. I feel like it can be glorified or people take pride of like, oh yeah, I've been working on this project. I was up all night in the studio. I'm like, once you start doing that for a couple months, I'm like, something should change. Anyway, it's not that story. So 2 years in, at the school where I went at, you needed to apply to be in the upper division for architecture and my portfolio and my designs did not pass for architecture, and I panicked. It did not pass for architecture, and then I figured out I hated chemistry. I love physics. Math was fine. Chemistry was the bane of my existence. Anyway, so 2 years in, I was like, oh no, I need to graduate. I have 2 years left. I need to graduate. I like what am I gonna tell everyone? What am I gonna do? Like I need to figure something out. And since before I went to undergrad, I was interested working in the UN. I used to watch like it was the most boring things, but I used to watch like what do they call this thing? They're like big conferences like the UN, the conferences and stuff, and you'll have like the translator, the linguist and stuff. And I used to watch some linguist research. I was watching Dr. Chomsky for the longest time before even I went to undergrad. I was a big nerd about languages and linguistics, like sociolinguistics, psycholinguistics. I was all over it. Um and I remember I was like, but in the back of my mind, I was like, what am I gonna do with a linguistic degree? I couldn't even like I was like, what is there to do, with something like that? But I was like, you know what? I've wasted my time trying to go after something that I'm told that I'm supposed to go be a doctor or an architect or an engineer, I was like, I'm going to do what I want to do now. So switch majors, junior year, beginning of junior year to linguistics. And I literally I dove right in. See the story? I dove right in. So I did linguistic. I did it with a Japanese minor because, of course, I loved watching anime, and I was like, I need to watch anime without subtitles. I know, classic stuff. I know. And then I did TESOL, teaching English as a second language, as my minor. So it's like I didn't learn from my architecture and pre-med history. But thankfully I enjoy, when I tell you linguistic, I had the most fun. I had friends that were both linguistic and Japanese majors, and I loved linguistic. Loved it so much. I had the most fun at that time. I ended up doing a thesis for my undergrad in Japanese, and I loved it so much, and I graduated on time. Now, did I get any sleep? No. Would I recommend people do that? No, definitely not. Don't do that. Don't do that. I remember I got gallbladder stone at the senior year, and I had to go to the hospital and stuff. But I graduated. I finished senior year though. Before I graduated, I got into another dilemma. What am I going to do with linguistics? So I didn't want to be a professor as much as I love watching like Dr. Chomsky and stuff like that. I was like, I don't want to go to teach. I don't want to go into academia, at least not yet. I don't want to have to wake up early. I don't want to have to grade people's papers. I was just like, what can I do? I love languages. I got to do linguistics. Another thing that I love is traveling. What can I do to mix the two? So I went and did Peace Corps. Peace Corps. My time in Peace Corps, if you guys wanna hear more about that, let me know. But basically I had a phenomenal time. I met some of the coolest people that I know to this day. And it was the best experience. I loved my Peace Corps experience. So yeah. Came back from Peace Corps, came back early because I got sick. Again, if y'all want to hear the story, let me know. Came back from Peace Corps, and I came back to the US, and it's kind of like came back right where I left. I was like, what do I need to do? What can I do with a linguistic degree? Because by the time I came back to the US, I was like, I don't want to work for the UN no more. I don't think I want to. I'll go to interview if I get selected or something, but I don't think that's what I want to do because I got to talk to and work with some people that were in the UN, and I was like, I don't know if that's for me anymore. But I was like, started with one volunteering activity. Let's go to the domestic one. I did AmeriCorps. Again, met some of the coolest people, fun people. Like, it was the best as well. I did mine in Camden, New Jersey. And this is also another story. Let me know if y'all want to hear about that. It was fun. I liked it. That's all I'll say. So I did that. While I was doing America, I went to a couple interviews. I interviewed for a couple federal jobs. Um, and I started applying to the UN as well. And then while I was interviewing, I remember I was in an interview. I went to DC interviewing for this job, right? And I remember passing by offices to get there and stuff. And it felt life sucking lack of better words. It felt life sucking just walking through the office. And I was like, oh my God, I don't think I'll get to travel again if I'm here. Like, not, at least not as much as I love to do. Right. So I was like, okay, you know what? I after I interviewed, I passed that interview round, and I got selected for the next round, and I just declined it at that point. I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I love traveling. I'm a free spirit. I like to move places. I don't like to stay in one place. all the time. So what else can I do? What else can I do? I don't want to go teach. I was like, what can I do? I was literally Googling what can I do with a linguistic degree? What are some of the career paths? And then I don't remember if I was speaking to someone first or if I saw it on Google first, but I know speech therapy came up while I was trying to look, and I was talking to so many people, and I had people working in early intervention that were like, "Oh yeah, I'm working with speech therapists, and one of them came from a linguistic background. You should look into it." Listen, I'm not gonna lie. When I first thought about speech therapy, the first thing I did was look and be like, "How much does speech therapy pay?" Because listen, at that point, I've been an undergrad, volunteering at the Peace Corps, volunteering with America. I've been broke. Okay, I've been broke. I had student loans. Granted, you get like the student loans payments and stuff like that from both America and Peace Corps, but I was like, I need to make money. I need to travel and I need to live life without needing help from my parents. So I was like, you know what? I saw the salaries and stuff because imagine again at that point I was like making nothing. So anything, any salary, I feel like you could have shown me. I'll be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I was like, you know what? I like that. I like that. That's what I'm gonna do. So I went online, researched a bunch of school. Again, that's another story. I can go more into depth, but I don't want this video to be a little too long. Um, and I applied to two schools, got into both of them, decided to go to one of them because of the tuition, right? Pack up my stuff because I needed to be in person for the first year, I think, and drove literally across state, I think for a couple days to go to that school. Just like that. I think everything happened within months, within like 1 to 3 months. Um, I was in another state, and well, before that, so a year before, 1 to 3 months once I got accepted. So I need to backtrack. A year before, I started doing leveling classes because I came from linguistic background. So in that same school, I emailed the dean or the program directors for both programs, and both of them offered leveling courses. So those are courses for people that come from a non-speech background, bachelor's. So I was able to do those classes online. And in the school what I was doing it at, if you pass all your class at that point, if you pass all your classes with a specific GPA, then you get um automatically promoted to the master's program. So that's what I did. So the minute after I was done with those classes, the following year in August, packed my bags, drove couple days to the school, and got into the master's program. So that was in 2019. I started the master's program in 2019. I said August. See, this is what happened when I don't have a script. It wasn't August. I started the program in January. In January 2019. I finished in June, I think, June or July 2021. That's when I finished. Um, yeah, 2019 to 2021. And then I started my CF in September, because I was waiting for my license to come in for California at that time. And I've been working as a speech therapist ever since, until just went back to school right now. But watch my intro video for that, girl. It's like I said, I like going to school in that episode. But yeah, but that's the story of how I became a speech language pathologist. Let me know if you guys want any breakdowns of any part, like if either it's like my leveling or my application process, things like that, or my Peace score, and AmeriCorps journey and anything. Yeah, I'll be happy to share. So yeah, thanks for spending the story time with me.